Yo, Coin Bureau fam, are we there? We're in for another big session. Just waiting for everything to connect as everyone sort of strolls in. Appreciate all the support as always, guys. But I am excited. So we're in for a big one. Bitcoin is pumping at the moment. And we called it on Monday. We said we will risk on despite all the noise, despite everything else happening within the market, all the bearish sentiment. Everyone was putting it all out there. It was all happening. We stuck to the analysis. And now we're paying the rewards. So I'm excited. Let's give everyone a moment to jump in. We're going to get some giveaways going. If you haven't done so already, make sure you like this post in particular, right? Smash the reactions, make sure you're liking it, and make sure that you spam in the comments. And I say spamming for a deliberate reason. Team, I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the chat, making sure it's there, making sure everything's functioning normal, as it should. But the big one for today is that we're doing a giveaway. And I'm going to be pulling a winner from the comment section. So if you haven't done so already, make sure you're smashing those comments out. Make sure you're putting everything in there, because that is where I'm going to be pulling a winner from today or tomorrow, depending on when the stream all loads up. But I'm going to be pulling someone that is in there from the comment section using your username. I'm going to post it on my Instagram and on my X account. You're going to have to then message me and we'll sort you out that way. But I wanted to put this to the community. Now, everyone that is watching right this second, do you want us to do a $200 straight giveaway? Or would you prefer that we do a split giveaway and give away 4 $50 rewards? Write in the comments, let me know what you want to do. Making sure everything's come through as it should, guys. I think, yep, everything's coming through. Good, good, good. Spam, you say, 6 likes, pound it. Got to get this pumping. Guys, I just want to make sure, can you hear me loud and clear? Is everything functioning as it should? I did have some internet issues this morning, but we should be all good now. Split the rewards, okay. People saying split the rewards. I like it. I was thinking of splitting them personally as well, for $50 rewards. I think people want the opportunity. So I'm okay with that as well. All right, we'll do that. Give me 1 second, team. I just need to connect something up because I'm thinking there's a little bit of lag coming through and I want to make sure you guys are all coming through all nice and clear. Just give me 1 second. You might see my dog in the background. That's about it. All right, we're back. All right, here we go. I want to jump straight into today because on Monday, we absolutely smashed it. We had some really good analysis play out. So I want to make sure this is all in tune for you all. So before we get started for today, guys, I want to make something very, very clear. As always, everything I share on here is my own personal opinion and nothing is financial advice. I need to make that very, very clear. I do this for educational purposes only. So you guys can get an understanding of how market analysis works, technical analysis, and how I personally look at the market. It's purely up to you guys to take your own advice and go through the charts yourself, do your own research and play the plays that you actually want to do yourself. Anyway, so in saying that, let's get into it. I want to cover off Bitcoin specifically first because we absolutely played this out to a T. Last week, I spoke about the fact of not FOMOing in. Then on Monday, I spoke about the fact of is risk on. Whilst the market was all doom and gloom and everything that was happening, I was setting up positions. All those positions are playing out now. I'm going to show you those very, very shortly. So make sure you're paying attention. Again, for those that have just jumped in, make sure you spam in the comments section. We're doing giveaways. The vote has been put out there. We're doing $50 rewards. We're doing 4 of them. I'm going to be pulling the usernames from there, posting on my X, posting it on my Instagram. So you guys will be able to pick that up shortly when I share my screen. You'll be able to see my account, like it, make sure you jump into it. And that way we can go straight and we can get straight into the stream. So first things first, team. Just want to put that on there. All right. So you should be able to see now my screen. That should be coming through for you guys shortly. Just want to make sure everything is coming through as it should. But Bitcoin is the big one. So this is where we're going to dive deep. This is the one I've been playing out for a very, very long time, and the same chart that I have been focused on this entire period, right? Everything that we have been talking about is being focused around this specific chart. So first things first, going back to the weekly time frame, we're bouncing off the 0.50 fib level, which is around that $65,700 worth, right? Now, when we dive into this, this is the range I've been focused on this entire period. You guys know I've been quite vocal about this entire time. You can see it. Basically, Bitcoin has been going through this consolidation phase. Whilst everyone else has been doom and gloom with everything that's going on, I've been simply watching this consolidation phase because I'm like, the moment we start to get above this $67,700 point is the moment that I think we're going to then push up to the $71,000 mark. Now, that is where we are currently sitting today. Now, this is the fun part because I had some messages over the last couple of days. Matt, what do your indicators do? What do your indicators do? Now, I want to break down something here, right? What I'm seeing right now is that you can see that channel that we were watching, deliberately watching, not just off pipe dreams and random levels, nothing like that. We're watching this level specifically. Why? You can see now how orders have picked up, and you can see the buy orders that have all been coming through within that area. 153,000 transactions have taken place on this one alone. This is within Bybit. So you can see it's pulling in all that data itself. Now, the moment we've sort of got some breakouts out of there, some solid retests on the 4 hour, we've now pushed up to the 200 EMA. And that for me right now is the top of the range. Now, does this mean the run is over? That's not what I'm looking at. The one thing I'm optimistic about right now is you can see we have this large order zone at the top of the range here, where typically sellers have come into the market. The good news in this current situation, and what I'm taking away, is we've broken to the upside of this order zone. Okay, we've closed above this dotted line. That is what I wanted to see. The next phase of this, of what I want to see, is I want to see Bitcoin break above the top of the range. $71,500 is the goal in which I want to see Bitcoin close above. So when you zoom out on this, it may not look like much is happening, but when you dive deeper into the data, a lot of this has been a consolidation situation for the time being. Now you can see we're starting to get a little bit of a highlight of the liquidity wick. That is quite normal when you start to punch through the top of the ranges. Hence why I'm saying I want to see breakouts above and I want to see candles close above. And it's very particular language that I'm using because it's very important where the candles are telling a story. Just like we had the Morningstar take effect here, which we covered and I was very precise about. We then had the retest of the Morningstar, which I was very precise about in the fact that this is where we didn't want to FOMO. This is where we waited for confirmation. This is where I took multiple entries, and now we've got the run up. So again, the data is telling me what we're doing. I'm not going off all the news headlines and pumping up everything and, following all the narratives that have been posted everywhere. I'm sticking to my analysis and my conviction, right? This is what I wanted to do. So before I dive in deeper, I've got some alts I want to go through. I'm going to show you guys the current positions that I'm in at the moment so you guys can take it away. You guys, I'm a very transparent person. I'm not someone that's going to come in here, pump bags and, show you guys that I've made X amount of money, blah, blah, blah. I'm very transparent with the way I go about things. I'm focused on education. My guys know that have always been following me for a very long time, that put my hand on my heart and we put things forward. We're not here to shield. We're not here to bullshit people, to be plain and simple. And I appreciate you guys for all the support you've given us so far. So make sure, again, liking, comment, share. We want to hit over 100 people on this stream. When we start hitting 100, we start to do more and more giveaways. But I figured today we want to give some giveaways to those that have been supporting us from day dot. So again, we're going to do 4 $50 USDT giveaways. So make sure you comment in. That's where I'm going to be pulling it from. So if there's 60 people in here now and only say hypothetically 20 people have commented, and then those 20 people are going to be in the draw for the win. And that's some good odds if you ask me. So let's get straight into it. I want to show you guys, whilst this has been taking effect, the interesting fact of the matter right now is that the US 500 has again still been going sideways. This is what we covered on Monday. bouncing off the order zone as well. So again, I'm very particular with these. I love to watch the order zone because this is where I see the data starts to present itself to give me an idea of where we think candles will bounce from or candles will reject from. So this here, again, has a strong correlation when I'm looking at this against Bitcoin. And that's why I pay attention to the both of them. And on Monday, I was talking about the fact that when you look at things like the USDT dominance chart, which has a strong inverse correlation to Bitcoin, and you look at this in the weekly time frame, we're basically at the top of the range in which we've saw over historical cycles. We've got bearish divergence, which is taking effect as well. So bearish divergence signals the fact that sellers are getting weaker in the market. And you can see what we've produced. We've produced this big red at the moment, bullish engulfing. We've still got 4 days to play out. But that's why we've seen the move on Bitcoin, because from here, people are moving money into actual crypto tokens, not just USDT or stable coins for that matter. So this is the interesting part. When you start to put the data together, you get the macro outlook happening. You're like, we've got something going on here. Now, before I jump into the other two charts and then the altcoins and my positions to show you guys what I'm running at the moment, two important factors that I think have been discounted and not spoken about more than what they should be is the crypto bill. So you guys can go look at this on X. The crypto market structure bill is being threatened by the banks at the moment, but Mr. Donald Trump here, now love him, hate him, to be quite frank, I don't care. I don't give my personal opinion on politics because whatever, it is what it is. But I look at this and he's saying that he's ready to sign this bill. There is rumors at the moment that he's ready to sign this tonight, tomorrow, by the end of the day. So I'm keeping a close eye on this because again, it was interesting. We had the US 500 dump yesterday before it got picked back up slightly. But Bitcoin typically follows that, and this time it didn't. I think there's a lot of things going on that people aren't paying attention to. The other big factor here, right, is the liquidity that is coming into the market at the moment. So look at this. The Fed will inject $16 billion from memory, if that's if I'm saying that right, 16 billion and $20 million into the US economy this week. That is a large amount of money coming in, right? It's going to continue to flow. This is the thing. They're trying to pump the economy. And there's one thing that I've always been vocal about. It's what's the best way to stimulate an economy? I've learned macroeconomics. I've learned all of that. One of the best ways to stimulate an economy, right, is to simply start a war. Now, I'm not saying that that's why they've done this. Of course not. That is not my position at all. But if you look over history and look over the time periods of what's happened, when a war starts, it naturally stimulates the economy because things go into overdrive, right? So I'm just keeping an eye on all this sort of stuff that's going on. We've got a lot of sentiment around bearish and, South Korea exchange today dropped 8%, but I'm watching the market, I'm watching the data, and we've been able to nail this entire run so far. And personally, I don't think it's done. I don't think it's done because you can see on Bitcoin, we're pulling into this bullish divergence scenario. If we get this bullish divergence scenario, I tell you now, I'm getting excited. I'm getting excited, right? Putting in lower lows, we're at the 200 EMA. We want to close above that this week. And you can see here, we want to break above the $71,500 mark. And I want to see candles close above there. Why? We start to get closes above there. It opens us up to a 20% move on Bitcoin. Now, have you seen this? Have you got someone else telling you otherwise? Once we broke this long-term downtrend, this uptrend, then I was looking for targets around the 68,000. We got there. Now I'm looking at this point and going, if we can break above, there's a fat CME gap sitting around 80 to 83K. Break above there, give me the bullish divergence, run the market up, give us some relief because some of these alts are down in the dirt, and that is why I've been taking positions on them at the moment. So I'll show you guys. This is what I'm currently in at the moment. I'm going to draw this across for you. So like I said on Monday, I wasn't going heavy into any of these, all right? I've just been building positions slowly on them. So for me, what I've put in here, I put in 500 USDT into each of these positions. When I say USDT, what I've actually done, and some of you guys may not know what this is, so I'll break this down for you. But again, want to highlight the fact of the risk that goes on when it comes to leverage trading. So make sure you are playing this game safely. Don't over leverage yourself. There's not something I'm saying to do. Please do not. I hate seeing people get destroyed. But what I've been doing, I've been placing orders on 5X. You can see that here because of again, some of the market uncertainty that's out there. I've been very conscious of the fact that I wanted to give myself enough leadway to DCA into positions if hypothetically Bitcoin did start tanking towards 60K. But as it stands, I'm currently in Sol USD, which is a perp, which means I'm actually being paid out in Solana, right? So I'm not getting paid out in USDT. And this is one of the things I love when markets start to go up, right? In the current scenario, yes, we've gone up, right? We've bounced. It's great. It's fantastic. Does it mean that we're going back to 126K or all-time highs and I'm going to start screaming 250K Bitcoin? No. We've got to be rational, right? Rational people stay in this market. Irrational people get destroyed, all right? What I'm looking at here is I want to accumulate Solana. I want to accumulate MNT, which I've been quite vocal on. This is one I actually think could perform quite well in the bull market. Again, something my own personal analysis, my own personal perspective. I want to earn some more Link. Link is at like $8. When Link was at like 20 and 40, people were kicking themselves for not buying it. I'm using this as an opportunity. I've also got DOT. DOT was one that people were FOMOing into, right? It pumped. People were like, oh my God, I'm going to miss out. Now, I opened a small position on this on the retest. Again, in each of these in equivalent terms, I've put 500 USDT, but I've actually purchased a token and placed that as basically a coin M or an inverse perp is what they call it. So I get paid out in the token specifically, all right? Now, is this the typical size in which I use on a position? No, right? I've got a much larger account balance that I'm happy to trade with, but given the current scenario, I wanted to get in on deep on these. What I can then do is as these pump up and once these hit like, 100%, I can add some more margin to it. I can build the positions more if I need to, and I'll still have a really, really nice deep entry. Again, strategy in this game is critical. And I want to show you guys why, again, I selected these tokens, went through them on Monday, but I want to show you guys in a little bit more detail as well. So, loving the chat. Keep it up, guys. Again, I'm going to be pulling someone from the chat, or 4 people from the chat exactly. If you aren't doing it yet, make sure you've liked my Instagram. Make sure you're on my X, because I'm going to be posting the winners on Instagram. I'm going to be posting the winners on my X as well. Your usernames, you're then going to have to send me a message. Then we'll sort you out with the 50 USDT winnings, right? But again, I put it to the party. I put it to the whole team here. I said 200 USDT in one hit or $50 for 4 different people. And we went with $50 for 4 different people. So happy days. So jumping into the alts, this is what gave me a bit of the information that I needed for the alts, right? You can see we're just accumulating price in the others or the others chart, which basically signifies the top, all the altcoins excluding the top 10 crypto market cap coins, right? So you can go and look at CoinGecko, go down, minus the top 10, gives you the value of the rest. This is what I'm watching, this accumulation phase taking effect. Again, sideways action similar to Bitcoin that is continuing to move higher and higher and higher. Now, breaking this down on the total chart, same situation. We're starting to get this breakout phase starting to occur, but we need candles to close above, guys. I can't stress that enough. Don't start FOMOing in, please, right? Again, we're starting to get some double tops on the CCI indicator here. That can signify, what, we're starting to top out at the range. But again, I want confirmation first. I'm not going to be closing positions yet. I want to see candles close above here, or we start to break down and retest and then fail is a different scenario. But I'm thinking where we are at the moment, we're not in a bad position, and I want to see how the US comes out swinging tonight. I'm really excited about that. Now, I want to show you guys MNT. This is, again, another token that I'm in. This is one of my positions that are moving along nicely. I also purchased a fat bag of this as well. So I'm running this position also. But again, this one here moved sideways for quite a good period of time. You can see this within the range. The bottom here, I want to show you guys something. This is why I use the weekly time frame. Big fat order zone at the bottom of the range, completely oversold with bullish divergence taking effect. This here, I'm still looking at a possible run all the way up to about 16%. So that will bring MNT back to around that 80 cent mark. It is something that I'm watching very, very closely. Now, going forward, DOT was the interesting one as well. A lot of people wanted to FOMO into DOT. This one caught a lot of people off guard. I won't lie. This one even caught me off guard. I've had a lot of success trading this token, right? I've ripped some 1000% trades on it on like 10 and 15x. Now, I'm watching this closely because now that we've had this consolidation period, this big fat breakout, I'm looking at this retest zone. So this is where I entered on DOT just last night. I've been waiting for a little while for this one. I wanted some more confirmations. I've got that in now. Now, I'm watching this closely because if you zoom in here for a split moment, you can see the EMAs. The EMAs are getting very, very close to each other. In an ideal world, I want to see the blue EMA start to cross over the green EMA, which gives me a golden cross scenario. This basically represents the fact of the average price over the last 50 and 200 data points is starting to rise. That's all EMAs are. It gives you an average using the past historic data points, the historic candles, and tells me, is the average price going up or is the average price going down? When the EMA is going down, the average price is going down. When the EMA is going up, the average price is going up. All right, that's just the facts of how it operates, right? So again, just sharing some education, sharing some learnings for you guys, because again, in current market environment, it can be very hard to just pick the bottom out of everything. So I'm starting to position myself where I need to be. Now, looking at Link. Link is still one of my favorites for the time being, right? Link is again consolidating at quite a low period. Now, we had a retest there on this hammer candle that closed on what is called the 113 fib level that I've been monitoring for a very, very long time. We finally got there and I could not enter a position here, right? This here is back in the accumulation phase that happened in 2023, team. 2023. After monster runs that have taken effect on this token, it is back here. A lot of people would have missed out on this. I sure as hell was not missing an opportunity to buy Link at this level. Even if it was to drop down, like I said, I left myself enough room to DCA into these positions if I needed to. All right. So this is, again, another token. And I had XRP. I had to go XRP. The reason I had to go XRP, I'm looking at this formation here. I'm looking at the consolidation that's starting to take effect. I don't really like this bottom one here, the bottom trend line. You can see that there. It's not very valid. For my trend lines, I like to have multiple touches at the bottom, 1 or 2, multiple touches in the middle, and then multiple touches at the end to give me about 4, 5, 6 touches. That the more touches on your trend line, like something like this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and so forth, the higher the conviction. Now, what I'm looking at here is, again, I want to see a real nice, simple breakout, retest, push, right? The top of the range for this is about a 20% move. Again, I want to get paid out in this token. Do I care about the token? Do I care about the fundamentals? No. If you guys haven't realized just yet, I'm not really that much of a fundamentals type of person. You can ask me what these tokens do, and I'm going to tell you I probably have no bloody idea in the most grand scheme of things. I really just focus on the technicals and the analysis of the charts, and alongside that, the macroeconomic outlook of what is currently happening. That is my core and main focus out of everything. Not so much, is this token going to change the world? I actually don't care about what the tokens do. All right, that's just my current perspective. That doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. It's just how I look at things. So I'm monitoring a lot of these guys. I'm not FOMOing into too much. I mean, I've got 5 positions open. You know, you work that out. It's 2,500 USDT across the board. If I need to, I can DCA again and again and again if I wanted to. But I'm quite comfortable with where my positions are currently sitting. And I'm currently just monitoring a couple other tokens. ZEC is another one that I am monitoring. And I had people asking me about Ethereum. What do you think about Ethereum, Matt? Now, before I jump into the comments and start going through some of those, I'm seeing value in other tokens. Like, that's the real truth and the real honesty, right? I see value at the moment, more so in tokens like MNNT, in XRP, in Solana that are down really low versus things like Ethereum. Like, even if Ethereum does well from where it is, it's at $2,000, it can pump 100%, fantastic, but I'm seeing more value across the board in other places. Now, this is another token I do monitor, ZEC, and I've been monitoring this for, since it pumped. I was not going to buy the FOMO here. I was waiting for it to come down. So now where it's at, I'm monitoring this level. And I haven't really spoken about this token. Again, guys, this token is highly volatile, right? It moves in quick successions. It moves very, very fast. Now, something you need to be mindful of here is if you're trading leverage positions on this, you've got to give yourself some good leadway, right? It does 8-9% swings in the matter of, a couple of hours after it had all this massive run up and so forth. I was never going to buy this after it pumped. There's not a chance in hell, right? I'm very particular, it's 500 in the CCI, definitely going to come down. But looking at this, right, keeping this really, really simple And I've got some labels here and things like that. But if you look to the left of this chart, this was the original resistance point. Despite this point here, this has been a resistance point for quite a long time, since 2021. Now, this token had finally bounced above it. When it's come back to retest, it's actually closed below. So I'm not sort of aping into this trade at all at the moment. The reason I'm not is because we got closes below this level, there is still potential for this to come down further, right? If anything, I wanted to see this hold above, right? And I'll show you guys this on the daily time frame now. If you zoom in here, the order zone for ZEC is sitting around $192. So I'm actually going to set an alert here at 192. The reason I'm setting an alert here is prices of tokens and tokens themselves love to move in my experience, into these order zones. That for me is where I'm going to be looking at potential entries. And then if I get confirmation, I'm not just going to ape in. You can see we've got a death cross starting to form here on the EMAs. So again, the selling pressure is still there. And we've had a nice big bear flag. And I can't remember exactly. Let me just measure this out for a moment. This bear flag in itself, I'm pretty sure the measurement for this was actually really, really, really deep. Give me one moment. Whoops, there we go. Let me just copy this. It was much lower. I had it down back towards this breakout point, 55 bucks. Look, hopefully it doesn't go there because I know some people have bought the top of this thing and I don't want to see it go there, but I've got a target here first around $192. Now, team, before I jump into the comments, make sure you spam those comments. Again, I'm going to be pulling a username out of there, 4 usernames to be exact. I'm going to be posting them on my Instagram, posting them on my X account. So make sure you're following. That is how you're going to be able to message me to tell me whether or not you've won, whether or not that is your username. You're going to have to prove it to me. Just take a screenshot of your YouTube account. It's not that difficult. But I do want to give away this sort of stuff because, again, I love the support. I do this stuff because, again, it gives you guys some education, shows you a bit of perspective on the market and I like to know to myself as someone that has a bit more of an unbiased perspective. I don't, again, if you guys are just new to the stream, I don't actually hold crypto bags. I love to trade crypto. I love to trade leverage markets. And I love to try and extract as much profit as humanly possible. I only sort of run bags when, the market's super bullish and it's easy and you just want to fall asleep. It's like throwing something at the wall and it just sticks. The other few tokens that I am watching for, guys, and I've been sort of vocal on them. I'll show you guys Ethereum before I sort of jump in further, but Ethereum has been an interesting one. So a lot of people were hoping, Ethereum going to $5,000, $5,000, $5,000, right? It's a common thing. You look to the left, big fat order zone, boom, it rejects, price comes all the way crashing down. I had a lot of people in my community and things like that do follow me that took profit up here, right? If it wasn't right at the top, they took profit right around the base here under those order zones, right? Because once price sort of cracked below, then there's a probability of then price falling straight back down. Now, I want to show you guys where I'm looking at Ethereum in this current scenario. This here is my interest. Ethereum had been in quite a downtrend. All right, we've all seen that, it dropped back down to 1,800 bucks. I've been monitoring this thing like a hawk, but I don't actually have any of it. And I had people message me today after they saw my position. They're like, Matt, why no Ethereum? And I'm like, again, I saw more value in other places. One thing I'm looking for Ethereum to do is I'm looking for it to break out and hold above this order zone. This here is around the $2,100 mark, and then that will give me a bit more opportunity, a bit more confidence in this particular token, given the circumstances. And in this scenario, then I'll be looking for possible entries. As it stands right now, when I look at this, well, what is the potential upside for Ethereum? Well, realistically, it's running straight into resistance. So what am I going to play? 3%? I don't really care about 3%. I'm looking for trades like I had, where I'm looking at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9% moves, all the way up to Solana at the moment. I've got a move on that scheduled for like 45%, especially if Bitcoin starts moving back towards that 83K CME gap. I do think, Solana could run 40%. Some people might think I'm crazy, but look, again, that's just my perspective. So I'm watching this in the moment for the potential breakout. I want to see the retest. I'm setting an alert here, $2,100 on ETH. Once that starts to occur, I'll show you guys this. When you zoom out, you can see there's just a nice accumulation range still taking effect. Slowly working its way through, and we'll see where it lands in the current scheme of things. Now, the US market, pre-market opens in an hour. That's going to be really interesting. Then from there, we have the market opening officially, 2 hours from now. So quite an exciting period of time. US 500 hasn't been significantly oversold today at all, which is good early signs. Fingers crossed the US plays ball as well. Now, I want to have a quick look at the comments section, see what people are saying before we dive into anything else. Just moving you guys to the side here so I can have a look. We've got, man, you'll need mods going on these fake accounts on the Discord. Hey, I'll provide that feedback. Appreciate you guys sending that through. We got 80 guys. Oh, we nearly had 20 more. We nearly had 100. Man, we're going to crack 100. I know the timing isn't great on this, right? If you're in London, it's 12:30 p.m. today. It's nice and sunny today, which is fantastic. See my dog sunbaking in the background there. If you're in the US, it's early morning. We're going to crack 100 on this soon. I can just feel it. And who knows, maybe we'll start to run some bonus sessions as well to really get the juices flowing and get everyone pumping in here. But again, guys, I'm going to give you guys one last opportunity. Like the stream, smash the like button, share it with your friends, share it on socials, because the more people we get, the larger the giveaways will become. Right now, we're doing 200 USDT. We're spreading it across 4 different people. We're doing $50 each. So make sure, I'm going to be pulling that from the comments section. So if you haven't, go ahead, spam the shit out of the comments right this second. This is your last opportunity to get into the draw. And make sure you've liked me on Instagram and X, because that's where I'm going to be dropping the winner. I'm going to be doing that as soon as possible. As soon as this all renders and, YouTube pumps it up, I'll get all the comments, I'll extract it all. And I'll try and also record that so you guys all know that I've done it completely unbiased as well, not favoring anyone. But if you guys want me to look at anything quickly, I've got another 5 minutes. So whack it in the chat and I'll happily look at a particular chart for you guys, or if you've got any questions. And even I might start to do some strategy sessions on this in the near future as well. But for now, guys, I just want to pump out some charts. This is what I do. This is what I love. It gets me excited. So I'm happy Bitcoin is finally waking up, making some moves for us. And I'm interested to see if this crypto bill structure gets signed off tonight, plus some liquidity injections, and the US market holds itself up. We might be in for a bit of a breakout scenario, and that's what I'd love to see. But again, I'm already hedged in my positions, especially across the altcoins. I will tell you guys though, I do run and now I make it very clear, this is not available, right? So don't message me and ask me if it is. I do run my own trading algo for my own personal being, and I run that on Bitcoin. That has taken some short-term short positions. I think that's about to crack profit any second now, but that is a quick in-out sort of strategy, and it flips within the market dynamics and the way it structures. But overall, I am more bullish at the moment than a lot of people are bearish, given the scenario, and we've run this strategy quite well. So you look at earlier at Pepe analysis, current situation. Sure, let's have a look at Pepe. I have made some great gains on Pepe over my time, and I've swung that token left, right, and center. So give me a second. I'll bring that one up. We'll bring up Pepe. We'll have a quick look. Here we are. So Pepe is another token that I do love to trade, but in the current situation, I showed you guys something on Monday, and I can bring it up slightly if I can find it again, but maybe I'll share it on my socials. I'll share it on X for you guys so you guys can have a look at it. But when I'm looking at scenarios like this, when the market is moving the way it is, I'm looking at the larger tokens like Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Solana, your large caps that are taking up majority of the market. I'm not looking at meme coins just yet. The reason I'm not looking at meme coins just yet is typically when you see the flow effect of money coming into the market, you see it hit those larger tokens first, Bitcoin, Solana, Link, like I just mentioned, and then it starts to filter through into what I like to call the more degen coin space, right? Again, Pepe, still a meme coin. Good meme coin, but when you think about it, definitely a degen coin, right? This thing has pumped, big head and shoulders, crashed, and now it is definitely below the support, the resistance point. Now, the way I look at Pepe currently, right, and this is where it gets rather interesting, I'm monitoring this little base that it's put in, right? It's nothing significant. It's sitting right at the bottom here. You can see we've got multiple wicks to the bottom, which is a good early indicator in my opinion, because you've got buyer pressure starting to step in. But the swings on this are quite large. You look at this on Pepe, right? Like, it's actually not bad. I eat my own words. It's only 3% in that situation. I was expecting a hell of a lot more. But the one thing I do like to see is again, I like to go through the cycle. Once the other coins are starting to run, then I'll start to put a bit more risk on the table with this sort of stuff. Where it is currently, again, is below resistance points. So it's going to need a really large push to break out of here. In an ideal scenario, I wanted Pepe to hold at this point here, which was around that 400. It's not even cents, but we'll just say it's around that 400 area, because that there was the run, was a key fib level. And you can see once price gets back within there, it's actually held up quite nicely. Now that we're back to the lows, right, it's 27% range here, but now that we're back to the lows, this essentially needs to push from the base all the way up, crack that level, and then break out. So again, look, Pepe, it's not in a bad position overall. It's just not my cup of tea right now with the other positions that I have on the market. I'm going through the flow-on effect versus going straight into the meme coins. So hopefully that makes sense to you all. Again, I like to manage risk. Risk is one of the things that keeps you in this game. Now, I've been in trading far out 8 or 9 years now. I always forget. And one of the biggest things that bites you in the backside very early on is not managing your risk accordingly, right? It's just rocket science. It's not rocket science, right? You're going to over leverage yourself, then you're probably not going to have a good time. I'm just going to move my screen around. But that's why I'm very important in the fact of, again, not over leveraging, taking smart positions, positioning myself accordingly. If the market does switch, keeping yourself an exit plan. I'm a very big believer that if you've got an entry plan, you also need to have an exit plan. Don't go, hey, I'll see how it goes. I'm very strategic. I'm very disciplined with what I want to look at. This is where I'm going to enter. This is where I'm looking for the price to hit. If it doesn't hit X, Y, Z, what are then my reversal signals to then close out positions so I don't get caught, getting liquidated or holding the bag essentially. It's very, very important. We nearly cracked 100 again, guys. So what I'm going to do, like I said, we're doing giveaways. If you haven't done so yet, smash the comments. Your last opportunity. This is the very, very, very last time. Have to wrap it up here. We've gone for our 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So again, smash the comments. Make sure you liked my socials. That's when I'm going to be dropping the winner. I'm going to be picking someone out of these comments in the near future. Again, today, tomorrow, depending on when this thing renders. Either way, have a fantastic week. I'll catch you guys on Monday for another jam-packed session. Mondays are always my favorite. It sets us up for the week. So don't miss it. Make sure you put the notification bell on, and I'll catch you guys on Monday. Have a fantastic week. We've got some exciting news coming as well. So make sure I see you guys on Monday. Catch you soon. See you later.